All right, Matt, we are here. We've come to the end of the Polka Party album.
Yes.
We're
What a
doing a
journey.
live
What a
stream
journey it has been.
charity thing right here. I mean, some magic is about to happen. I
Yeah.
am so excited for this guest. This is a friend of yours.
Yes.
I think I've interviewed him once years ago, but I've been a longtime fan of his music. So this is very exciting to have MC Frontalot jumping on here to talk about
Yay.
Christmas at Ground Zero, a song that you asked to talk about specifically. Is there a reason why you chose this of all the Al songs?
Who, me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, my 7 other favorite ones were already taken by goddamn greedy ass podcast guests. This one, it stuck with me all these years. I also certainly, like all of them from that era, listened to it a lot at a certain age. But it would come around on MTV and remind me of itself every year around Christmas time.
Are you another one of the guests that desperately wanted to talk about something on the first album that Matt and I foolishly were like, no one wants to talk about these songs?
Actually, I'm not sure what I would have picked, but I did throw a couple over. Probably I asked for Yoda, right?
You did ask for Yoda, and of course, our friend Brendan got Yoda. He claimed that early on, yes.
Yeah, Matt chose nepotism on that one.
I did.
Always first in line, that guy.
I know, it's save some space for the rest of us, Brendan.
I can tell you this. I have always loved this song, so I'm excited to talk about this. I mean, we have to talk about the Phil Spector of it all, right? Like, this is such a great send up to the Phil Spector Christmas songs.
Yeah, Phil Spector.
I have never listened to that Phil Spector Christmas compilation record. There's like a specific record. Right?
Yeah, I mean, even if you haven't listened to it, though, you must know because there's so many, like the most like.
I must know all the songs, right? Like,
yeah.
What are the songs on there?
Like the Ronettes doing Sleigh Ride, right?
Yeah,
it's all the Motown. A lot of the Motown.
What song? What Christmas song is Sleigh Ride? Are these original? These are all original songs. They're not standards.
Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring ting jingling.
Yes.
Yeah, of course you do.
Thank you. Would you please use you singing that as the name of the song and not just the name of this? Useless to me.
Yeah, no, the Phil Spector Christmas record is like, in so many ways, is like the definitive version of a lot of those very, very classic Christmas songs. So even if you don't know that record, the odds of you've certainly heard on the radio those renditions a million times.
Yeah.
Any version of a Christmas song that sounds like Christmas at Ground Zero was from that Phil Spector record, for sure.
Pretty much. That's the main vibe. And this is another one of those classic. I can't believe how many times we've talked about this story in the 4 albums that we've covered on this. But this was another, the Scotti brothers asking for something and Al giving the most fuck you punk rock response imaginable to them. So the Scotti brothers pitched him an idea of, hey, you should do a Christmas song because like Christmas records do really well and like they're kind of just a never-ending money chain. And Al decided to write a cheery little Christmas song about death, destruction, and the end of the world, which the Scotti brothers were like, we can't put this out.
I was reading the I don't have the depth of historical knowledge that you two must have, but I was reading the Wikipedia page about the song, and there was sort of a reverse fuck you also, because once he gave it to them, they were like, oh man, tried to put it under the edge of the carpet, would not make a video for it. And then, so he made his own video out of pocket, directed it himself, his directorial debut. And then, I don't know whether he just mailed it to MTV using his own stamps, or once they saw it, they were like, well, we've never turned our nose up at a free video asset.
We have spoken before on this show about it seems like a consistent thing for Al on his records that he has like one video with a real budget, and then the second video is very, very, very cheap. And this is the cheapest one by far. I mean, it's all stock footage except for one shot at the end of him with the carolers in gas masks, which apparently he shot in the Bronx because that was the most destructive looking area they could find to emulate Ground Zero.
Well, and the other thing that I I think that the video works out best because it's so cheap.
Oh, the video is really effective considering what it is. It's really effective.
It's much like a video one would have to produce after society had collapsed.
Yeah,
exactly.
The availability of production resources was slim.
Exactly.
And the gold mine of, like, can you imagine you're Weird Al Yankovic? You're sitting there, you're making this music video for Christmas at Ground Zero, which, for historical noting, I threw this in here, that this is like 2 or 3 years after the day after plays, and everyone is terrified of like nuclear fallout. So it's a pretty hot topic at the time that he's doing this, right? To go through all this stock footage, and you find that clip of Ronald Reagan saying, "Oh well, the big day is finally here." Like, you must have just been like, whole video. I've got this is like the closest thing to like a legitimate political statement Al has ever made in the middle of a music video, and I love it.
I think that's why I went to this one for my
I had not seen this video in a long time, and when I rewatched it for this and Reagan appeared with audio, I literally gasped. I couldn't believe that he put that in this song. And I mean, of course, the song is full of all of this, like, you know, it's a very, very political song for him. But to add the audio to the video, I was like, wow, that's really, for Al, that's very, very on the nose political.
These days, you wouldn't, blink an eye.
No.
If Trump or Biden or Obama or someone showed up in the middle of a music video. But then, when Reagan was in office, like, things like spitting image were scandalous. Like, people would clutch their pearls if you, maligned the office of the presidency with some kind of satirical material on network television.
Yeah.
Like Saturday Night Live has always been allowed to do that, and I feel like record companies were very hands-off with anything.
And it's another element. We use
president.
this. Yeah, we use this term on the Girls Just Want to Have Lunch episode. Levi gave it to us, but Al is a big fan of the malicious compliance. And this song is very much malicious compliance to the Christmas song and to the video. Even to that, like them being like, well, we're not going to pay for a video. So he did it himself and gave them this. And of course, it's this great feeling of like, well, we should probably use it. Because it's a video that was given to us.
I'm not sure that I believe. I think to add another very thin layer of punk rockiness to it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I believe all of those clips in the video are public domain. I think that Clarabelle the Clown clip.
Yeah.
I think somebody still maintains ownership over that IP in 1986. I think.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. When you said it's all stock footage, I'm like, I don't know. There's some like Disney and Looney Tunes animation clips that made their way into this as well.
It's true. And if Al was paying out of pocket, I can't imagine he was licensing.
No, he definitely grabbed all of that out of the 16 millimeter clip jar down at the branch library.
I was going to say, yeah. Also a good reminder of how that is a lot harder back then to do this than now, just going on YouTube and downloading footage and making a video together. This was still a good amount of effort from Al to make this happen, as this must have been important to him.
Footage collection effort. That's
footage
just
collection
like a concept that doesn't exist anymore.
It's so true.
Yeah, this is definitely, like, watching the video now, that's a good point because when I was watching this, I was like, I could assemble this. This isn't that far off from like the bumpers that we play on this, but you're right. We have the aid of
YouTube. Now it's so easy.
I can just be like, oh yeah, these are the clips I want. I want to pull some footage from like old Christmas movies and throw like a punk rock Christmas cover over top of it and turn into a 30-second bumper, no problem. He had to go and track down as all of these clips, and then this is when you're still editing with like film and a razor
blades. Yeah, exactly.
Taking it together.
Razor blade.
Dear God.
So, I mean, talking about the song again for a moment. I had this thought just as we were getting ready to start recording. The melody of this song, in my mind, is so completely Christmassy. Like, it has all of the markers. Like, the melody of the song is such a Christmas melody that for a moment I thought maybe he lifted this in some way, or it was referencing something else, but I don't think it is.
It's not. He handcrafted something for the American Songbook.
I mean, that's amazing.
Right there.
Because it really feels like it feels so fundamental, and I don't even know how to. Obviously, the production of the song has the jingle bells and all this kind of stuff that feels very Christmassy, but I don't know how the melody of the song feels Christmassy to me.
It's evocative of the have a hot jolly something Christmas, whatever sort of Christmas you're meant to have in that song. But it's not a lift, I wouldn't say.
It's not a lift, no, and he is the sole credited writer of this track. It's just amazing to me how much this just feels like it could have been a parody of an actual Christmas song, but is not. Once again, Al, the style parody, his ability to replicate an existing style is stunning to a degree that I second guess myself hearing it. I'm like, wait a minute, is this actually referencing another thing that I'm forgetting?
Well, I
but
think
it's not.
A big part of that has got to be, like we said, with some of these Phil Spector Christmas songs are so embedded into our brains because they're inescapable on the radio at this time of the year. And a big element of that is, you already mentioned the bells like kind of just coming in as like pseudo bell solos in the middle of songs. But the big thing for me is that horn part that's playing in the background is
the
like
air raid siren.
Well, no, not that. I mean, that's a nice, but just a bump, ba-da, horn piece.
The actual horn. Yeah.
That is such like a, when you just play me that with no lyrics, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is probably like a 1960s Christmas song. It just has that vibe to it right out the gate.
Totally.
Do you guys not play the week's song in question for the audience at the beginning here?
Oh, we do.
They'll hear it. They'll hear it in my editing. Yes.
Yeah.
There's going to be editing.
Yeah. For these people who are watching us experience it live, they're not getting the song before the thing, but in the podcast,
they were expected to have guessed what this week's song was, reviewed ahead of time, and arrived at class prepared.
We expect a lot from the live audience,
We do, and someone that's in the chat, Chris Afalios, he has informed me. I this filled me with joy that he literally, before he listens to our podcast, will pull up the song that we're discussing that day and listen to it once on a streaming app, and then listen to the episode.
There you go.
Discussing it.
There you go.
I don't know if he sits down and watches all of the Al TVs before.
Yeah. So if you're watching this and you have not heard Christmas at Ground Zero, just go ahead and pause the live stream and listen to it. We'll just be waiting here for when you're done.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
And if you would like to listen to the other At Ground Zero hit of that immediate time period, switch over to Fishbone right after.
Yeah,
Party at Ground Zero.
Yeah,
That's
right.
If you're feeling really enterprising, get out your Ableton and make a mashup and create Christmas Party at Ground Zero.
I forgot about that one.
And post it in the comments.
Yeah.
Well, I am never not thinking about a Party at Ground Zero.
Oh my God.
Speaking of Ground Zero,
I was gonna say, yeah, there you go.
This is probably one of the first Al songs to have a slight controversial radio banned. Many years after the fact, but this was part of that almost bordering on hilarious list of songs that we were not allowed to play on the radio following September 11th. That list, if you look at the full list, is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
With some of the stuff that gets included. But at the time, I get it. But yeah, this was... I don't think you'll turn on the radio and hear Weird Al's Christmas at Ground Zero anymore. I don't think he plays it, or for a long time he didn't play it.
He did start playing it again on the Vanity Tour. He stopped for a very, very long time. It's so interesting that Ground Zero has become synonymous with September 11th when it is just, in fact, a term for I guess it's a blast site or right? Isn't that the actual definition, or am I oversimplifying it?
Yeah, I think it's the same as like a patient zero, like where the destruction took place.
Yeah,
it's the epicenter of the nuclear blast, because the nuclear blast is wide ranging.
Right.
So you need to pinpoint.
As someone who literally for research watched the day after to prepare for this podcast.
Did you also watch Testament?
I did not. I didn't get around to that. I did watch, but man, day after is wild.
Milligan, you're too young. There were two competing nuclear annihilation TV movie of the week event films that the whole country was expected to watch. Day After won the ratings battle.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was like the cover of Newsweek's like, "What will America watch?" While contemplating their own mass mortality.
My favorite thing about The Day After is when you're doing research on it, and there's like a quote from Reagan that's like, when I watched that, I thought, man, this could be some serious stuff. And I'm like, that's what made you realize it could be some serious
And if we did not understand the dangers of having a TV president,
oh boy,
at that moment, then it was clear we would never learn.
At least we all learned a valuable lesson.
Yeah. Yeah, we never voted
We never made that mistake
celebrity
again.
TV president again.
I wish we could skip the TV phony personality smiling garbage person era of democracy and move into the just get the professional wrestlers. like in the movie,
in Idiocracy, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just like shooting the machine gun in the air, and you do like a couple of bumps and like tumble off, like go through a table or whatever, hit somebody with a chair, and like that's the whole job.
Look, I will take the professional wrestler over the smiling TV guy any day, because even Macho Man has that incredible, like, what is it, like a 40-second speech on Arsenio Hall. When Arsenio's like, but does the Macho Man cry? And he's like, part of being macho is being able to cry. Like, that's what I want. Like that. He's at least in touch with his emotions more so than like the frozen smiley face on television.
Yeah.
There was a review that I saw about this song, because it was a pretty, even when people were absolutely dunking on Polka Party at its release, this was usually one of the like two songs that they'd be like, but this song was okay.
I did not realize this record was not a hit. Like, to me, in 6th grade when this record came out, like anything Weird Al did was literally the greatest new music available to humanity, and the idea that one could prize some other album, like one of his, even above the 50% mark, and this one below, like that was a foreign idea to me. Like, the critics didn't like it, the public didn't like it. Is that what happened?
Kind of both, yeah.
The thing that's been the weirdest thing to learn while doing this podcast is, especially in the 80s, how many critics were like, ugh, but these originals. Like, and now I feel like those are the ones that people cling to with way more nostalgia. Case in point, not to fanboy too much, but literally this morning I listened to your cover of Please Don't Wear These Shoes. But like, the diehard fans love the originals almost more than most of the parodies at this point.
Yeah.
Because there's something super special about those originals. But at the time of the release, the critics were like, why is he wasting any energy writing original music? This should just be a 5-song parody EP. And like, how quickly his career would have collapsed if he had followed that route.
Polka Party's like half and half, yeah?
It's about half and half. And we've talked before about...
Yeah.
Is that heavy on the originals, or no?
It's usually heavier on the originals than the parodies ultimately. It's usually... If it's not half and half, if it ever does lean more into a higher percentage, it's usually a higher percentage of originals than parodies, ultimately.
Which I think he said before is purely like financial from his perspective. If the more originals on his record, the more money he's going to actually make from sales. At a certain point, too many parodies, and it becomes really hard for him to, start making money on his records.
Yeah, and I mean the polkas alone, I'm sure, like tank the overhead of those albums right out the gate. Well, but what I was going to say is this review that I found.
Though, sorry, the polkas he's paying Fox agency like compulsories on the cover, right? He doesn't have to.
He has to be, but
new title the way he does with the song parodies, right?
He shouldn't have to, but it is complicated because of the nature of like. To be honest, I don't know the exact ins and outs of how he licenses the polkas, but because he's using such a small section, and in some cases is changing the music underneath the original, like he's using the lyric and the melody, but he's recomposing. He is credited as a writer in all of the polkas because of all the interstitial stuff that he does. So it is indeed like a split between all of these people. So
maybe he's credited as a writer in a medley that credits the other writers, and he's still not claiming a new title on any of that material.
Basically,
so if you look at every one of the polkas, it'll have a list of all of the artists and their copyrights, and then it will say the Ear Booger Polka by Weird Al Yankovic, and he said that literally covers any piece where he is not singing a lyric written by somebody else is part of the Ear Booger Polka by Weird Al Yankovic. But yeah, the one review I want to call out, because I kind of agree with this, is the critic said, while Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer was old even decades ago, this musical dose of sick holiday humor has not lost its novelty one bit. And then in the book The Weird and Wonderful Christmas, the author Joey Green ranked this the weirdest Christmas song of all time. And I love
weirdest.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, let's ask the age-old question, because it's going to be a while till we get there. I personally picked this over Santa Went Crazy as far as even just Weird Al Christmas songs.
I was not familiar with Santa Went Crazy, and I gave it a spin last night, and it didn't appeal to me. Is that a style parody of like modern country?
It's not even. I don't even know if that counts as a style parody of anything. That might just be a true original of his.
The closest that you could say it's a style parody of is that the opening guitar riff is very similar to a combination of "Mama, I'm Coming Home" by Ozzy and "Black Gold" by Soul Asylum, but the rest of it is wildly original for him.
It's funny. I have to go back to it now. As a kid, and like when I was a kid, Baird Hair Day was my intro to Al record. So I loved The Night Santa Went Crazy. Like that ranked very high for me. And I remember thinking it was funnier than this. But now looking back, I think this is a more impressive and actually just a more. This is like a satire and a really clever song in a way that one is just like a goofy like. Al writing a horror movie into a song, basically, as he has done many times.
Yeah.
I think they're both good. I might even like musically enjoy the other one a little bit more than this one.
One's music kind of just, once you get it, it doesn't do anything interesting after
because this is just, again, this is following a very sort of like traditional pattern, and it's great. Don't get me wrong, it's super, super well done. But the other one has some interesting musical moments by comparison. It always surprises me. But yeah, I think this is probably, if we're gonna pick one Al Christmas song to hold closest, I think it probably is going to be this one, because it really is. And it's, I also was just reading interesting, like even when it came out, Scotty Brothers did push it to radio, and even before 9/11, there were apparently a lot of radio stations who were not playing this song because they were like, this is not comfortable.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
they saw the day after on TV, and they didn't.
Yeah, it was just not what people.
It's all cozy and nostalgic now, but living in the second full generation of like Cold War children, that was rough. Like every day you woke up knowing that you were as likely as not to perish in nuclear fire along with everyone you love, everything you hold dear in the world itself as you know it, leaving only smoking poisonous rubble, and maybe the few survivors who would envy the dead. This was your daily breakfast thought, and also what kept you up shivering under the blanket as you fitfully and fruitlessly attempted to sleep. It fucking sucked.
I'm glad that we don't live in fear of nuclear holocaust anymore.
Oh God.
No, this is Matt. I think you said this the other day, but it's almost frightening how this song is still at least a little bit relevant.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it doesn't. I think again we can laugh at it more now than at the time. I mean, obviously Al wrote this as a piece of comedy. He wanted people to laugh at it even in this moment in time. But it is clear that he is like. I mean, there's some real anger in this presentation.
And the laughs are like genuinely dark. Like it's the usual kind of light tonal treatment. But the subject is so different than lunch, and
he has some. I mean, like I'm looking at the lyrics, like some really wonderful turns of phrase. Like I love that we can dodge debris while we trim the tree.
Underneath the mushroom cloud.
Underneath the mushroom cloud. Like I mean, it's amazing. It is really, really effective, and it just like inserts the horror is inserted just in the right spots.
Even the last line, the like, what a crazy fluke, we're going to get nuked on this jolly holiday. Like, what a fucking dark, weird line to close your song on, with the children's choir in the background, and like it's just he does a great. This song is. Are we ready to rank this? Because I am. I think I'm ready to put this.
I think we're getting close. Yeah, this is really like it's funny too, because like listening to it again, I just like it's fun and happy, and just looking at the lyrics on my screen right now, like it is harrowing, truly.
I don't want to. I don't know how long ranking takes. Don't let me keep you from it.
Oh,
no, you're good. Go ahead.
Knock that out in 3 minutes.
I don't want to underplay like how much nuclear fear pervaded all of American culture.
Totally.
In like these last 4 years of the Cold War here, where this song comes from.
Yeah.
Like all pop culture in some like way was about how we are fucking doomed, and violently and tragically.
Yeah.
And like a lot of pop songs would like be oblique about it. Like, 2000 party over, oops, out of time.
Yeah.
I'll stop the world and melt with you. Right. Like these are vague allusions to our mutual destruction. And actually singing about it like straight ahead, that was the realm of punk rockers.
Totally.
And Weird Al.
Yeah.
Just further points to the Weird Al's punk as fuck argument that we've been making on this podcast from episode 1.
He is punk. And also another thing, just to I think he does not get enough credit for the social commentary that he inserts into his music. Because it's not all the time. Al will just sing a song about lunch. But he will also regularly really have something to say, and do it through these, again, this is very outwardly political, especially with the Reagan line being dropped in there. But if you really look at Al's lyrics and the sentiments he puts in his songs, it's not that surprising. Like his politics and his beliefs about the world are very much in there if you're willing to look and give a listen to deep cuts. Like, I guess this is a deep cut. I don't know. It was a single, but
fan favorite more than a hit.
It's there you go.
I'll tell you the one that surprised me a little by how overtly and specifically political it was in more recent years was Party in the CIA.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you're talking about our nation's war crimes.
Totally. Party at the CIA is
over a Dr. Luke jam.
That was really, really tough. And coming up in a few years, he has the song Trigger Happy.
Yeah.
Which is really I actually heard that he had been they had rehearsed that for the Vanity tour, and right before the tour started, I don't even remember which one it was, there was another shooting, and he was like, I don't feel good about doing this.
Well, because he even says in that Weird Al Seriously book, he talks about like the amount of people who came up to him and was like, I'm just so glad you wrote a song about guns, because like I love guns and no one writes songs about them. And he's like, are you not getting that the lyrics are not about how great it is to walk around packing at all times? Like,
yeah, never make anything for a general audience that you hope they'll have to understand before they talk.
It's so true.
That's
people who specialize in satire. It is a dangerous game.
There was a line. I was listening to an episode of the Gilmore Guys, and Kevin from the Gilmore Guys says like, I hate when my satire is interpreted as racist. Like, it's like there is this weird horrible line where it's like you are trying to be comedic and thought-provoking, but like someone somewhere is going to listen to it and just be like, oh, that's one of my guys. Like they're just like it's gonna go right over their head, and you've suddenly aligned yourself with the very people you're trying to mock subtly. Isn't it great? All right. We ready to rank this, Matt?
Yeah, I think so.
How does the ranking work? What's going on here?
We're gonna rank it for ourselves because we have a list. We're ranking parodies versus originals, all this stuff. But then you are gonna have something to rank.
There's
Frontalot, yes.
Many lists.
Yeah, we actually have quite a few things.
Yeah, we got a couple
here
for this one. But Matt, I've picked my spot for this. Christmas at Ground Zero is in my top 10 right now. I put it right between Checks in the Mail and Slime Creatures from Outer Space.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's good. That's a solid ranking for this song. I like it.
Yeah, so the things I put above it thus far in his career: Checks in the Mail, One More Minute, Dog Eat Dog, This Is the Life, Nature Trail to Hell, and Dare to Be Stupid are the originals I've ranked above it.
I will always admire your affinity for the checks in the mail. That's just
It's a great song.
that's I think I'm actually gonna put this in a very, very similar spot to you. I'm gonna rank it fairly high as well, and I think I'm going to put it in between This Is the Life and Midnight Star.
Okay, there we go. So you've got it just below Midnight Star, Mr. Popeil, I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead, Dog Eat Dog, Nature Trail to Hell, and Dare to Be Stupid. Where do we want to put the music video on our individual lists?
The music video. This is such a weird one to rank because I actually really think this is a very effective music video. Considering, well, again, we were talking about like how cheaply made it was, but then I also feel like it's not as it's harder to have made than we're appreciating, really. Excuse me.
I got crazy. I put it in my number 2 slot right below Dare to Be Stupid.
Wow.
I think Dare to Be
Holy
Stupid,
cow.
Christmas at Ground Zero. I put it above Eat It, above Like a Surgeon, like above Ricky, my beloved Ricky. I think that the amount of work that was put into this and how effective it is for something that took only one shot of new footage is wildly impressive, and this should be taught in film classes when they're doing their music video session on like how to do a lot with a little.
Wow, that's very impressive. Okay, I'm not going to rank it that high, but I'm going to put it in between. I'm going to put it above This Is the Life and just below Like a Surgeon.
All right, so that's not too bad. You put it above the other video that's made up of a lot of stock footage.
Exactly. Yeah, This Is the Life, the Johnny Dangerously music video.
And then the very last thing before we let Frontalot do some rankings is, where are you putting Polka Party ultimately on your weird albums list?
Oh, right. We have to rank the whole album. Oh, my God. So much work.
How many... There were no, like, super giant hits that got parodied on this record. That was its problem.
That was a huge
commercially.
strike. Yeah.
The biggest parody on this record was Living with a Hernia.
Yeah.
Which, Living in America, he didn't write that for Rocky 4 or 3 or whatever, did he?
Oh, I think he did.
I think he
that
did.
a
Well, actually,
movie?
James Brown didn't write that song. That
It
was,
written for him by someone else. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
2 movie soundtrack minor hits that got parodied on the same record?
there's a lot
He
of...
was really
It's
playing with
almost
fire.
Almost the entire Polka Party album is movie soundtrack songs, with the exception of Addicted to Spuds, because he thought, oh, well, this Ruthless People movie will probably take off, so he did a
Huge.
parody of that with Toothless People. And I forget what the other one. Oh, Here's Johnny. He thought the song
Here's
Here's
Johnny.
Johnny.
That's another one. Good Lord. These are all...
This is part of why
Addicted
this
to-
record is kind of forgotten for him, is because he did all these parodies of stuff that did not really hold up like so many of
Addicted to
his do.
Spuds was... I mean, Addicted to Love was big.
Was that
That
Addicted
was-
to Love
that
is the
was
one
huge.
that has held held, you know,
But it
stood
did,
the
like,
test of time the best.
No video and no radio signal.
Yeah. Living in America is written by Dan Hartman, by the way. It's an
Oh, there we
interesting
go.
Fun fact. That was James Brown was, I think, at that point having a tough time. So they were starting to give him stuff to do.
I mean, let him
yeah.
rest. He'd
Yeah.
written a lot of
Oh,
songs.
no, he's there's no
32,000.
no shade to
individual
James Brown.
compositions.
Yeah, this hack James Brown not writing.
Yeah,
the
this guy.
album
Can you
report.
believe overrated?
Pick up a pen.
I'm putting Polka Party at the bottom for now, and that is the main thing I'm going to stress on this. Is that
Yeah, I think I have to as well. I think I have to put this at the ranking the lowest of the 4, but I do think this record is, considering its, front, we said in a previous episode, Al has publicly stated that he thinks Polka Party is his worst album of his whole career.
Well, then
And
you
I
won't
just-
offend him with your current rankings.
Yeah,
guys.
exactly. But I think it's underrated, honestly, in the grand scheme of his stuff. I think the originals on this record especially are quite good. Dog Eat Dog is like top tier original Al. We talked about Good Enough for Now is really good. This is great.
don't wear
Yeah.
those shoes is on this as well. Like, please don't wear those shoes is from this one. So
Don't
it's,
Wear Those Shoes is
That's
good.
another of my
all-
favorites.
yeah, all
Yeah.
of the originals are great on this. It's
Yeah,
just-
and I think the parodies in most cases are just unfortunately poor choices
Yeah.
Not that they're even bad, they just don't hit the way that a lot of his parodies do still, because he picked songs that have stuck with us so well.
Yeah. All right. Well, the last thing that we have to do is Front, you get to do some rankings. So
All right.
the way our crazy show works is every single time that we have a guest on the show, they can rank their song amongst all of the other songs that guests have come on to discuss. I believe
as though your guests share a hive taste.
So I think Matt sent you a screenshot of the rankings, but for the people listening, I will tell them real quick. At number 1, we've got One More Minute. At number 2, we've got Yoda. At 3, we've got Good Enough for Now. At 4, we've got Living with a Hernia. 5, we've got Like a Surgeon. 6, we've got Hooked on Polkas. 7, we've got Nature Trail to Hell. 8, we have Eat It. 9, we have I Lost on Jeopardy. 10, we have The King of Suede. 11, we have Don't Wear Those Shoes. 12, we have It's Still Billy Joel to Me. 13, we have Slime Creatures from Outer Space. And at 14, we have Girls Just Want to Have Lunch. So, Front, you get to do 2 things. First, you get to place Christmas at Ground Zero wherever you want. And then you can take any song on that list and re-rank it to where you think it deserves to be.
Tricky. All right.
Yeah.
Why doesn't everyone just put their episode's song first in the hopes that the archive audience will then go and view them?
That often happens, but every once in a while, someone will just be really honest and put their song that they picked and love. Like, they're like, well, it's definitely not better than I Lost on Jeopardy, so they'll put it down below.
All right. Well, we're going to take Living with a Hernia and skip that down under Slime Creatures.
Okay,
Yeah.
Slime Creatures. And where are you putting the Christmas at Ground Zero?
After Like a Surgeon. So it's in the new 4 position.
So One More Minute, Yoda, Good Enough for Now, Christmas at Ground Zero.
Yep.
I love it.
All right, it's in there. It's locked in.
That's a very respectable, and I agree with you, Bump It. I don't know why Living with a Hernia was that high for that long. That's confusing.
It's nice that it has that the whole thing is like a meta joke about how about the famous trademark singing of James Brown, right?
Yes.
He sounds like something just really, really hurt his back.
Exactly.
I'll have to figure out what happened when I start editing the Polka Party episodes. I will figure out what happened, but I'm pretty sure that our guest who did that episode put it at the bottom of the list, so someone moved it higher up on it.
It was a rescue.
I think that's right. Yeah, that sounds
it's like
right.
Getting a dog from the pound.
Because I remember that was like our favorite thing, was that he was like, "Yeah, put it at the bottom."
Yeah, I like the honesty of someone putting their pick way at the bottom.
Right.
Hey, for the live viewers here, can I plug something real quick?
Of course you can.
I was literally just about to say, hey, let's do some quick plugs before the next segment.
I and some of my nerdcore pals, MC Lars, Mega Ran, and Schaefer the Dark Lord, we have one of our famous streaming concerts that we do a few of every year. It's our Boxing Day, our 3rd annual Boxing Day show, so it's on December 26th. Tickets start at $5, but if you want, you can spend $5,000 on that ticket. All these different kinds of tickets. They got VIP shit. You get like a free T-shirt, or we'll write a song about your mom. Whatever you want. Read the ticket link lists, all the things, VIP tiers. I don't have ad copy, so
no, that's
bad
great.
at freestyling apparently. 4, the number 4, EYED, 4EYED. .square.site. That's where the tickets are, and we are the Four-Eyed Horsemen Collective.
I love it. As someone who has purchased a ticket to one of their events before, I can vouch for the fact that they put on a spectacular live stream show. It is absolutely fantastic, and it's probably gotten way better since I even last saw one. It's been a minute.
Who knows?
So. Or maybe it's gotten worse. It's possible you guys have gotten lazier. I can't rule out the possibility that you guys have started to slack off.
Oh My this time. Oh My is opening the show. It's going to be a good one.
Well, and people stay tuned, because we will have, during this live stream, a live set from both Mega Ran and Lex the Lexicon artist will be dropping on this 24-hour live stream event that we've got going today.
Wow.
So making sure that the underrated genre of nerdcore is properly represented here at Geekscape. As always, thank you so much, Front, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
among
man.
other performances that are coming up. Matt, we'll see you again around like 4:15 during the Wheatus set, correct?
Oh yes, the Wheatus is also getting together today to do a live stream for this very special event. It's going to be fun. 4:00, you say, right?
Yeah, 4:15.
It's a live event, so we use margin of error here, but we're going to say 4:00.